Hail Internet! It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about the exciting renewal of Westworld. Season 2, Episode 1, Journey into Night. All right, so exciting episode. A lot of high body count.
Yes.
Lots of deaths in this episode. I'm going to
Yes.
try to throw in, because it's been 18 months. It's been a year and a half since we talked Westworld. And so I'm going to try to just the highlights from season 1. Oh, this is dangerous. All right, we're going to try it. Okay, here we go. 3 timelines. If you remember, there were 3 timelines in season 1.
Time frames.
Time frames, thank you. They're not timelines. It's all the same timeline. It's one timeline. There, we figured it out.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, time frames. This is not an alternate reality show. This is a time frame. So there was what we'll call present time frame. There was 34 years ago time frame, and then there was 30 years ago time frame. So those 3 time frames were moving along during season 1. I'll just say the way they ended. The 34 years ago time frame was the park's about to open, but Arnold realizes, oh my gosh, robots are conscious beings, and we're going to be torturing them, making them slaves. Can't do it. I'm shutting this thing down. And he basically has Dolores play this part of Wyatt and lead a rebellion, kill everyone, kill all of the hosts, and kill Arnold.
Yes.
Kind of like, hey, if I'm still around, I could probably remake you guys, so I think I need to be gone.
And it's something dramatic to give you a sense of the seriousness, perhaps, of everything.
So Ford realizes, oh, well, you know what? I do need Arnold around to make this stuff. I'll just remake Arnold. So he brings Arnold back as Bernard. And then 30 years ago, Dolores basically has her reveries, and she's returning to the spot where all this stuff happened, but the town's been buried. Remember, like the church steeples. She's on that journey of rediscovery,
but I don't feel as if that's the major, major thing is that the Man in Black guy is there.
Well, agreed. William tries to join her in this quest, but
the camp isn't doing so great. Isn't doing so great, so they are taking on outside investors, and it's in the form of Dickhead.
Logan
and Man in Black, who is to be a dickhead.
Yes.
Dickhead to be.
So yes, innocent William falls in love with robot Dolores, and only to have his heart broken, and he realizes, oh, she's just playing a role, and it makes him bitter, angry Ed Harris.
Yes.
And so that was a big reveal for that. But it was also from you're right, that was the main point. But from Dolores' standpoint, it was she was on this journey to kind of return to that moment.
But that's one of many times.
And there was no way
times that she was sort of
because Ford had covered up the town.
Right.
So then 30 years later, Ford decides, oh, maybe robots really kind of should be the new dominant species.
Yes.
And so he uncovers the town.
And he's remade the founder in the form of, what's his name? I suck.
All right, good. What's his name? All right, yes. You're not talking Bernard, right?
Yeah, I am.
You are talking Bernard. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Bernard, yes. So anyway, what we finish off in the present day time frame from last season was Ford's getting fired. He's like, you know what? I have one last story I want to give to the park. It's called Journey into Night. And wow, let's have a big celebration here, right in the middle of the park. It'll be great. And then basically, whether by his intent or not, I feel like it is by his intent. Maybe there's some question. Mm-hmm. The robots rebel.
Yes.
Dolores kills Ford and starts mowing down the guests, who are all high-level Delos folks in tuxes.
Yep.
We see the Man in Black get shot in the arm by a marauding group of hosts.
It pleases him immensely.
And that's kind of where we leave off. Now, there's a lot more to it, but
yes,
that was a general strokes, broad strokes. Okay, took less than 5 minutes. All right, good. All right, so season 2, I feel like, and you tell me, but I feel like it's giving us similar things in that it's going to have multiple time frames. and it's going to have this quest similar to the maze. In this case, it's finding the door.
Well, for
the Man in Black, but I think maybe that's an overall structure as well. But
perhaps, I mean, it might be some sort of trap that he's eliciting. I mean, clearly, Dolores has some goal, and
she does.
We don't know exactly what it is yet, so we're to find that out. And of course, Maeve has a goal.
Yes. So let's define the goals then.
Okay.
So Maeve's goal is to find her daughter.
Yep.
At the end of last season, she was going to get to the mainland, free herself from the park, but she gets this note, we found where your daughter is. She returns. Whether it's by her own volition or not, it's hard to tell because most of her actions were predetermined by Ford. Was that choice to come back to the park her own choice or not? Still up in the air. But she has, in this episode, she elicits the assistance of Hector.
Yes.
Who she fixes up.
Yep.
And Jerk.
Yeah.
Can't think of his name now, but the guy who created all the
stories
verbiage and
stuff.
Yeah. Great moment there where she was talking about the size of his manhood, and he's like, "I wrote that line for you."
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, well, you know what? It's kind of broad." And like, you just said it. It's just funny. She just said the line, and she's criticizing it. It's kind of funny. So that was nice. So they have discovered that supposedly her daughter is back at the homestead that she grew up in, I think we originally saw a flashback to her getting killed by the Man in Black. I think that's where she's off to at the moment. Although we have seen in trailers, she's dressed up in like Japanese gear,
yes.
And you feel like she's not in Westworld anymore. So
that's the guy, right? Lee?
That's him.
Yep, Lee.
Lee is the jerk who,
yes,
kind of against all odds, is still alive.
Yes.
He's not good with people so well, and I don't know.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting if you think, who survived. Like why should that security guy survive? I mean, just because he's a Hemsworth.
Oh, yeah, Stubbs. Well, we could learn more about that. In this kind of show, we don't know, like, could he have been replaced by a robot version of himself? Maybe. I'm just saying, we're skipping around here, but Stubbs, if you remember from season 1, he's out in the park investigating things. The Ghost Nation Indians show up. He tries to tell them to freeze. They jump him. And that's the last we see of Stubbs until like this season. And he's fine. He's like,
just some really good fight scene is all I'm thinking. But then I was so wrong about last season. So
what were you wrong about?
I was wrong in that original Dickhead shouldn't have survived.
Logan
would never be naked on a horse. Clearly, that'd kill you. Just like it killed Lady Godiva. So
right, she died. No, okay.
No, it didn't kill her.
It didn't kill her either.
Nothing about being on a horse naked kills you.
Right, Logan. From what we've seen, we didn't see in episode 1, but from trailers, It appears he's still alive. Could be flashbacks, but it does seem to suggest that he survived. There and so there'll be some kind of.
Don't listen to me.
We theorize that he would be dead because if he was alive, he would be a liability to the Man in Black. That he'd be this guy's like, look, that guy that's running a company is insane and he tortured me and he, sent me off to die on a horse. That guy, let's put him in jail, whatever. Yeah. So I'm that's if Logan's still alive, that moment's going to come around.
Yeah.
Apparently that happened in the past, though, and nobody cared. Because the Man in Black is still leading things. Yep. Although we do see a new leader, Strand.
Yes.
He's kind of some kind of CEO guy, and seems very nefarious.
He sends away the security people from another nation, which apparently is,
And it said on the I was reading and it said Chinese language. So I feel like that's actually a question a lot of people had.
Yeah, it is.
Where is this place? Is it a virtual reality thing? Is it on the moon? Yeah. Where is it? And it's an island. It's an island theoretically off the coast of China or something.
One of their
he says, places. Have them all sign NDAs and get off my island. F an island. So it's a big island. Also, we know that there's a bit where there's a Bengal tiger that's washed up on the shore at the end.
Yes.
And they're like, well, that shouldn't be here. We have Bengal tigers in Park 6.
Yes, Part 6.
So we know that there's potentially 6 parks, of which Shogun World is definitely one of them.
Yes. I was listening to somebody, didn't get the name of the park, but perhaps in one of the books or other previous movies, they've actually said the names of this other park that it might come from. So.
In the movie there was a Roman world, I believe. They had
They have Bengal tigers there?
Sure.
Feed them to the tigers.
Yeah, the gladiatorial combats of things. All right, so we're talking about goals. So May's goal, find her daughter. She's now got Lee and Hector, and they're setting off back into the park, into Westworld, to go find her daughter. And Lee brings up the point, it was a story. It's not really your daughter.
Right.
She's like, what's real, jerk? Am I real? Can I kill you? Yes, I can. Go with this. So Dolores,
her goals. Yeah, she seems very confident.
Rule the world.
We'll get rid of them too. She's like, get rid of the humans that are out there, because she's aware that there's a world outside of where they are. And she feels pretty confident. Like, I remember stuff. Like, okay, what do you remember that is going to help you out there? So that would be an interesting question.
Yes, she is.
That's one thing where the time frames may really come into key, right? So, in the previous times when she was learning from Bernard, was she learning something about that? Or maybe the guy, Anthony Hopkins, Ford told her something that would help her out in the world, take over. Or, is it something that she came by, in between the time that she was running around shooting people and the time they go to that place and she says, yes, we will take over.
So it's the valley. So her mission seemed to be, the time frames we are seeing at the moment.
Is that the same place where at the end they're like, everybody's dead? And where this big moat come from? Where the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the two obvious time frames we're seeing at the moment are right after the party where everybody got shot is time frame 1, and then 2 weeks later, time frame 2. I think there's a third time frame we've already seen, and we're going to see some others, I think, but I'll mention that in a second. But those are the two obvious ones. Time frame, bop, and then 2 weeks. So there's a 2-week spread between our two time frames at the moment. Mm-hmm. So in the earlier one, it appears that Dolores is bringing the worthy to the valley.
Yeah.
But she's not only killing guests, which you see her riding on a horse, shooting very accurately from horseback, by the way. So, she's a robot.
She's a robot.
Boop, 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 boop. So mowing down tuck-swearing guests. And then we see this footage from one of the Ghost Nation where she shoots a host, saying, you know what, it's not for everybody. I feel like what she is doing is only allowing the robots that have achieved consciousness or are on the path to achieve consciousness, the maze, basically.
Right. Well, the other thing is she could be a robot racist.
Or she could be a robot racist.
But I think it's more likely that, you're right, maybe there's something about them that keeps them from being able to, like, maybe they're, it's like, we got these Indians here, all they have to do is attack. Maybe they don't have the capability to be smart enough to gain consciousness. Because you would think, like, okay, well, eventually we'll come up with some technique to get you to get consciousness too, but maybe they can't. Maybe there's something about their inherent circuitry that can't let them do it.
Well, I almost feel like this is an issue we had.
Or maybe since they all can be repaired anyway, maybe just let me take you out, and then ultimately we can boot you back up and fix
you and make you better. Maybe. We had mentioned in our season 2 predictions video back a year and a half ago that Teddy was a bit of a quandary in that it didn't seem like he had evolved as much as Dolores had. That he was still kind of basically running the storylines that were set for him. And for instance, his drive is like protect Dolores.
Yep.
I'm with Dolores.
Yep.
That's his cornerstone.
Yep. No matter what happens that he has to do to protect her, even if she run around killing people.
So let's assume for a second that Dolores is gathering only the robots that are capable of achieving consciousness or have achieved consciousness for this golden elite group or something.
Sure, yeah.
If Teddy hasn't achieved consciousness yet, it might come to a point where she's like, you're not really actually part of this group. You're not, and maybe either kills him or, exiles him or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there could be a moment where, I know we're supposed to be together by the story, but you didn't really make the cut, so.
That would surprise me.
It would be surprising, but cool. Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying that might be a thing because I feel like he still doesn't get it. When they're having that conversation about it, he's like, "Who are they?"
Yeah.
And what do you?
I think but I don't feel like he's gonna.
He just knows.
I can see
stay
that
with her.
I can see that if there's someone who she feels like, wow, this person, is better than him. But I think he has a purpose that she accepts, and she likes the fact that she says that you're devoted to me. That's one of the things she was like specifically said. Like you always, you're the constant. You're always coming after me. No matter whatever happens, you always protect me.
Yeah.
So.
Now there is there's a new opening credit sequence.
Yes.
For Westworld. One thing it deals with a lot of water imagery, which we'll talk about there, but the end of this episode is important. But also there's a mother and child, which was not in the first season's things.
No, nor the bison.
No, the bison falling to its demise. So maybe there's like a procreation angle to this, like to be fully alive would be to be able to have offspring or something, and maybe that's where she's saying the future is you and me, Teddy, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe there's
who knows?
We'll be able to have kids.
I mean, it's like the only kid there is not just Maeve's kid, so there are other kids there too.
Right, but they were made as opposed to
I know, but you're right.
By the hosts.
Okay.
I don't know. Just saying. I don't know. Maybe there's a.
I mean, presumably they should get to the point where it's like now that we've got the world, we need to make more robots. Whatever we have here is probably not enough to populate the world. So they're gonna have to make some more at some points.
She's definitely, you would say, turned to the dark side, and she feels she's very threatening
the dark
at this
side.
point.
Very human-centric, your view.
She's got the, puts the people up on the crosses.
Yes.
And she's having them balance, and
yes.
they're gonna, we assume, die.
Yes.
And she tells them, now you're in my dream. You got to exploit us forever now. Shoes on the other foot.
Yep, shoes on the other foot.
And she does give that line where he's trying to beg. Like, we're begging. She's like, I don't say anything. Or, I forgot the exact line, but it's the line that
doesn't look like very much to me or something.
It's the line that Bernard says. Yeah, when because his programming has taken him out of
yes,
things the robots aren't allowed to see.
Yeah.
So she's
that it doesn't
quoting
hurt
it
them.
back.
So
yeah,
which I don't know. It was a weird sort of line because one, that person doesn't have no clue about that. Two, is that something that bothers?
That's a reference to a thing you should get. Yeah. Never mind.
Two, for the only way we've heard it is for like, so you can see something that's not going to hurt you or whatever. They're not going to hurt her, so I don't understand what the point of it. It's just sort of like, I don't see you.
Well, yeah.
I don't care about you. I guess
maybe it's
really
like, I don't care, or like, if the situation was reversed, you probably would be dismissing me, my pleas. So I'm going to dismiss your pleas.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's the main Dolores angle. We have her riding for this valley. We hear a few mentions of this valley. There's the kid with the lantern who's like, do you need directions to the valley or something like that?
It's Ford Jr.
Well, no, not Ford Jr. The kid in the barn that they
that
kill.
kid.
He's
like,
if you need directions, I'll be helpful. Oh, now you're killing me. Thanks. But so there's this valley in mind, and then at the very end, we'll just leap to the end here for a second. Obviously, the main focus of this episode is Bernard, and we're about to talk about Bernard at length here. But
yes,
the finale is, hey, we just found on our GPS tracker all of the hosts. This is 2 weeks later. Are gathered in this valley. Let's go there. So they go to the valley, and it's filled with water. And there's like, there's not supposed to be a lake here. Where did this come from? And the hosts are all drowned,
including Teddy.
Teddy.
It looks a lot like Teddy.
It's certainly Teddy.
It must be Teddy. How could it not be Teddy?
How could it not be Teddy?
It's Teddy.
We don't see Dolores though.
No.
So, and then Bernard says, I killed them all. So what I'm assuming that was the valley, and by calling it the valley, she wasn't saying that place that's underwater, the lake. She was saying the valley. So I'm going to guess that 2 weeks ago it was not underwater.
Right.
Also, I would guess that if like, oh, there's a routine lake in the wilderness. I'm going to guess these robots could swim if they were required to, right? Like,
sure.
oh, I can swim.
Yeah.
So just the fact that they're standing in water wouldn't kill them.
I wouldn't think so.
And yet they don't look like they're shot. They just look like they drowned. So
they
maybe
look
it's
like
like
they're dead.
Maybe it's there was like almost like maybe a trap or something set for them with like a dam that breaks, and then like the tide is what kills them. You know, the rush of water maybe washed over them, gather them all in one place, and then sabotage.
I wonder if it's a trap.
It's a trap!
Yeah, so it's like, oh, they look like they're dead, but you pull them out and you boot them back up, and then all of a sudden,
right? Or you like the trap within a trap could be that, oh, we'll have to take all of these bodies to Central Holding, and then there's a huge army of bodies, and then like, I mean, maybe. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's something about the valley became a lake as a way of killing these people off.
Right.
For either to kill them permanently or to kill them so that then when they wake up, they're now,
Right. I mean, it would be interesting if that's the result of a failed plan. Right. And so we don't see Dolores there amongst the bodies.
Right.
So it's like, okay, is that part of her plan of getting rid of people and then she's doing something else? Or, well, is it part of her plan? Is that like, I needed to do this, kill all these people so that I can get out, which sounds less likely. She's talking about how
she seems
making
more
the world her thing. So
passionate about her people.
It seems more that she, is thinking this is how we're going to get them, maybe, by having it look like we're all dead.
Now, so to that end, we will pick up with the first shot we see, which is Bernard talking to Dolores. And I have a theory on this scene, but it's on the surface, it's Arnold talking to Dolores. It feels like it's the way the scene goes. It seems like it's in the distant past, maybe 34 years ago.
Yeah, or I was feeling like maybe it just his memory screwing up since his brain is leaking. But
okay, okay.
It
So
seems more likely your theory actually just is winning me over.
Okay, so his conversation with Dork, it's one of those sit-down moments that they used to have to kind of check in with the robots. And so he's like, what were we talking about? She says, oh yeah, we were talking about your dreams. He's like, oh yeah, I had this dream where you're on a distant shore and there's a lake. I like that. She says, are you with us? And after he says you're on a distant shore, like, obviously not. If you're distant, I know, but it's interesting that the way that's couched, like, are you with us? Are you with the robots, perhaps, is what her real question is. But I don't know. Anyway, he's like, no, I'm not with you. And I'm standing and the water's rising. And she's like, well, what does that mean? He's like, well, dreams don't mean anything. I don't really want to dwell on this. So, I think that's his internal monologue, is I don't really want to think. So he's like, no, they don't mean anything. They're just, and she's like, well, that's not honest. And then that makes him respond with the like, wow, I'm actually kind of afraid of what you might become if you head down a path. You will become the Terminator. You will become self-aware and kill off humanity. Great. I'm glad I did this service. So my theory is that this, in the time frame, so we have the just after the party time frame, 2 weeks later time frame. Somewhere in that 2 week period, let's say, just to cut it in half, a week later, Bernard has met up with Dolores. Either whatever, they captured him or they met up with him, whatever. She realizes she needs to get some important information out of him regarding the valley. I'm not sure what context that is yet, but what she decides to do is, because he's broken down, right? He's, as we see in this episode, he's having trouble. He has to inject himself with coolant to try to keep from. And so she, to basically best get the information from him, she decides to bring him back to those moments when they would have these robot check-ins. But in this case, she's the one doing the questioning. She just assumes the role of, I'm an old ranch hand, Dolores, and wakes him up and has this conversation to try to get these dreams out of him. She that's probably the way she would try to approach it. If you look at the beginning of that episode, he's like startled for a moment. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. What were we talking about? And just the idea that he wouldn't know what he was talking about. Like if he had been, if this is Arnold back 34 years ago and he had to sit down with Dolores, would he really be like, all right, now that we're here, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I feel like Bernard was just brought back.
A way that it made sense to me, at least initially when I was watching it anyway, is it seemed to me like in those times he, out of grief, was having these sit-downs with her, and so maybe he was spending too much time doing that, and so it caused him to fall asleep during those sessions or whatever. So that's a way that you can explain it, but I think it's possible that what you're saying is true.
Also, the fact his outfit looks it's a dark, kind of all black outfit, which is what he's wearing 2 weeks ago, whereas at the 2 week ahead time frame, he's wearing different clothes. He's wearing a gray suit.
Another thing that we don't see is Charlotte.
Good point.
He's walking around there with Charlotte after the event, and then when the people come, where's Charlotte? You'd think she'd be there.
Oh, you mean at the end of this episode even?
No. Well, okay, so we know that, boom, 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 let's get over here, we're trying to escape. And then by the time the people come, Charlotte's not there telling them, okay, this is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. No, they just have.
Yeah, you're right. Charlotte is missing.
Yep.
In action.
Yep.
He's also on a shore, but not the shore. He's not on the lake,
right,
the valley shore. He's washed up on a beach,
right,
with a glass in his hand too, which is interesting. Oh. He has Also, here's a way you can tell which time frame you're in: glasses. Oh. He's got the glasses, and then they deliberately show in the 2 week ahead time frame the glasses wash up on the shore, and he doesn't pick them up. And so for the rest of the episode, whenever he's with Strand and those guys, he doesn't have glasses on.
Interesting.
So keep that in mind.
I just should have given him a black hat or something.
And FYI, he does have glasses in the moment where he's talking with Dolores. So it could, if that's in the time frame, it still could match up. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if that's the thing. If I'm right, I win the internet, and it's great. Awesome.
What are you going to do with the internet?
I'm going to turn in a bunch of robots, and I think I'll start a park. I think that would be a good way to make some money. Yeah. But the fact that Dolores, or that Bernard says, I killed them all, could be also a reference back to this moment where because he's talking about this body of water and he's on the other shore, and maybe he starts realizing, oh, I had this conversation with Dolores and somehow I was the one that started this disaster. Anyway,
it'd be interesting. I mean, it makes it seem like it's the beginning of a confession, which is hard to believe. I mean, one of the other things that we've seen in the trailers, there's no way to do it and not spoil it, is a bunch of other Bernards.
A bunch of other Bernards? I don't think I missed this.
A number of other Bernards.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be
one of those, just real fleeting seconds that are in the trailers that somebody's. What?
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we also see Dolores like, like in a downtown swanky,
Yes.
like she's in the city.
Yes.
Like a
number
modern
of them
city.
are because you see Teddy there too.
Yeah. So what's that all about?
Yeah,
Because
what
even
is
if it's
it?
in
What
the
is
past, they were robots in the past.
Right.
They
I would
weren't-
think it's more likely to happen. Sort of like, okay, we're not going to get your money, company. And we brought all these, robots here so you can see how great they are and you can get the money. Not for Man in Black, obviously, but maybe for the father who's really in charge of the business.
Right.
So.
Right. So obviously we've got this whole thing too where Bernard is pretending to be human.
Yes.
And is
It's not easy being green.
somehow is keeping up the deception, apparently.
Yes.
Although Strand seems, and if not questioning whether he's a robot, is questioning his allegiance. He's questioning whether he is allied with his creations or not. I think he is because he doesn't come out. But there's a few moments where he's like, "I know this must be hard on you," because they're shooting.
Yep,
they're just shooting the hosts right in the face, and you could see Bernard, the actor, does a really good job at portraying the sense of like horror of like, oh my God, this is me. These are my kin, more or less, and they're just wiping them out. Could be me. I could easily be this guy, and also this is horrible. We do see something that I thought was a little odd, which is there's this plastic cylinder that holds all the memories. It made me think like, oh, I thought they were so much alike humans that they were indistinguishable at this point. Like, originally they were like puppets, but now they're like, oh, we use meat and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But they use meat, and then in the middle of it's a whole bunch of plastic, which would make you think like there'd be some scanning way to be like, boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah, that's a guy.
I mean, from what we've seen from the drones that they showed, we hadn't seen before. Or at least, actually, drones kind of seem similar.
We need to talk about that too, because
the drones actually similar to, I feel, the creatures that they at the beginning you see it spinning up. So it looks like it's material that's at least behaves enough like meat. But obviously, you don't want it to actually be meat because that needs certain things.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, it seemed like there would be a test you could do very quickly to tell if
like
a person is a person
if you have,
or a robot.
Like, okay, it doesn't seem like he's bleeding. Unless his little.
He's got the water coming out of the ear.
Whatever.
Got water
that
in
is.
the ear.
But maybe. Actually, I guess when they get shot, they do bleed sort of real. So but you should know.
When they scalped the Indian, I thought that was like, oof, okay, ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's talk about the. So Bernard in the 2 weeks ago time frame.
Yes.
Trying to escape with Charlotte.
Yep.
And a bunch of other folks who were stupid.
Yep.
They're like, look, it's safety. And Bernard's like, wait, don't go.
Before that, I mean, we already discussed it, but still, it's sort of like, wow, the whole reason this is happening because of the abuse we put on the robots. Well, there's another one that wants to be nice to us.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, can I help you how to get to the Golden Valley? Thank you. I really appreciate being abused like this. I'll be back tomorrow. So the idiots run out and get mowed down.
Yes.
So Bernard and Charlotte are hiding.
No, she didn't get that guy that, she let that guy run. And I thought she was just going to shoot him in the back. I
did too. I was like, that guy's dead.
She's like, oh, let him go so we can catch him later, I guess. What the hell?
Good point. I didn't think about the ending result of that, which was like, oh, surely they're going to ride him down. It's like target practice.
Been like, I don't know very much about her. But I like her more than that jerk. It's like, she's like, let me run too? No, of course not. I'm going to kill you.
Right.
What?
Shoots the woman in the head. And it was because she was a woman, and I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So
who knows that's part of her plan?
There's a lot we don't know, obviously. Ever. Existentially.
No, we never know.
Bernard's like, oh yeah, the only place, the installation's 2 miles away. That's the only one I know about.
Yep.
Charlotte's like, no, there's another one much closer.
Yes.
And he's like, what the hell are you? So they go in. Sure enough, there's an installation that Bernard had no idea about.
None at all.
And yet, DNA code works. So it means that he was given access, or
I think
he was allowed.
I think she was sort of like, okay, I can go in, and I'll set it up so that you can go in, because she's like, that's so you won't have any problems. Why don't you go in?
Okay, I thought it was like a test where he was worried that maybe it's going to find me out.
I don't think she No, he apparently has DNA, I guess. So the skin is kind of humanish, even if they're not.
But also, he was authorized to go. You're saying it didn't matter if he was authorized or not. Really, I just thought maybe that meant he had pre-authorization.
Yeah, I don't think he had pre-authorization. Okay. I think she set it up so that he could enter.
Okay, so they go into this secret facility.
Yes.
Even from the people that are running the thing.
Yes.
And so this is Delos's secret facility in the middle of the park. And what we get out of this is we see these drones.
Yes.
There's not even an attempt to make them look human.
No.
They look scary robots.
Yeah.
And they are taking the deactivated hosts, and we see them doing a swab.
Yeah.
I think they're taking DNA samples.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they say it. So
yeah.
They take DNA samples. So that basically they have rich guests show up. Because they have to be rich to be in the park.
They have to be rich.
They have sex with the robots, and then secretly they're taking their information, and also taking a little plastic cylinder out of the head and recording.
Oh, yeah.
They're spinning back the video memories of the hosts in regard to these guests.
Yeah.
So, for one thing, that is an analog again to modern day problems.
Sure.
With I thought I was safe and you were using my data.
Yes.
Damn you, Facebook Delos. So yeah, these people who thought their privacy was protected are obviously.
Also, perhaps an analog to certain political figures who may or may not have tapes that,
Yeah, right. So, one potential use for that is to blackmail people.
Yep.
Certainly. Hey, look.
So you can perhaps replace them with,
But I think the DNA, more than just for blackmail purposes, I have a feeling they're going in the direction of cloning.
Yeah.
Or making a robot version
that has enough DNA to sort of pass.
Yeah, and so replacing rich folk with robot hosts that they can control. That would be the be the important part.
Would think, yeah.
So this thing of them having free will, not really in the Delos plan. But in fact, there's a great little moment when Bernard is talking to Charlotte. She's like, what the hell happened? I mean, did Ford had the robot kill him? And Bernard says something like, well, maybe Dolores had killed him of her own free will.
Yeah.
And she does this side-eye thing that's pretty great, like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whoop, whoop. So.
Yeah, whenever the shades come down from her eyes about Bernard, it'll be like,
yeah, exactly. So she, I think, in some ways is kind of like Delos, is this idea of they're robots. We control them. Yeah. We're gonna make some hay out of this thing. This is gonna be great. And we're gonna replace. But that's also a way that robots could get into the mainland, and then cause mischief. It's like, yes. Oh, look, we sent our disguise robots out.
That was one of the things that I'd forgotten about when I rewatched parts of last season. I had completely forgotten that Maeve had herself burnt up so that she could be rebuilt without the little time thing in it. Because if you go past the barrier, boom, you blow up. So she had herself remade so she doesn't have the thing in her body. So a lot of them have to do that. Maybe that's why they moved the body. So that someone can go
boom, good call.
Take out the things out of their bodies, maybe.
I like it, sir. I forgot all about that too. So that sets up, though, the underground bunker moment sets up another big MacGuffin for this season, which is Abernathy, who played the robot who played Dolores' dad. At the end of last season, he was packed with a bunch of data that they were trying to sneak out to the mainland.
Yep.
They call it an insurance policy.
She did.
Now, she tries to get an extraction, she being Charlotte, is like, hey, come get us. We delivered the package, and whoever's on the other end's like, you didn't deliver the package.
Yeah.
We ain't coming to get you. And so she's like, we have to. She explains to Bernard, we have to find Abernathy, deliver him in order for us to get saved.
Yep. Which is very strange.
Yeah, they're like,
why don't you try to save us and then we can get that Abernathy?
Yeah,
Oh,
nope.
no. Which makes me wonder if it's another. Some board members are initiating this plan, and other board members aren't, perhaps. So it's sort of like, we've only done as much as we can. You have to do the rest. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of like Counterpart.
What? Did we just link this to another show? Maybe the doors will open and it'll be Berlin. Like, it's Berlin World. Oh, look, it's J.K. Simmons. While trying to also save himself, because he's dying, Bernard does initiate the tracking on Abernathy. And they find Abernathy's signal in the park.
Yep.
Now, did they say where he was? For instance, is he in the valley at the time? I don't remember if they said, he's in the valley. I don't remember. So he is in the park, and they're going to be heading for Abernathy to try to get him, to send him to the mainland so they can get rescued. Now, also at the end of the episode, Dolores, who's having her conversation with Teddy, gets interrupted by the woman Confederate. I forgot her name, but she shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's Clementine. I don't know. Anyway,
it's not Clementine.
She shows up and is like, "We found it." And Dolores says, "Teddy, I want you to see this." And that's obviously a stinger for later. Angela. Oh, good. So Angela's like, "We found it." Dolores wants to take Teddy to show him. She's just been talking about how humans live among us, but they're not us, and they're horrible. And I'm going to show you something.
Yep.
So, I mean, part of me thought they found was Abernathy. That maybe we found.
Right.
But I don't.
No
idea.
Yeah, because it's hard to imagine why that would be important to them.
Right. Well, if it's a very special code, maybe, that they're trying to ship out, maybe it's like the code that makes us sentient.
Well, no, because why would no reason why what's her name Charlotte would steal that.
Yeah. Or maybe it's the code. Maybe they realize that it's Delos really wants it, and so they can use it as a bargaining chip. I don't know. I hear you. It's weird. What is the reason? But it could also mean that that's how Bernard, for instance, interacts with Dolores eventually. Is he's trying to get Abernathy. She's got Abernathy. And they collide.
Maybe.
Also, the Man in Black has a powerful scene with the little boy version of Ford, who is talking directly to William. Kind of a creepy moment there where it's like, wait, Ford knew this was coming, kept Man in Black alive so he could play this game, a second game that he created for him. Like, whew, that's deep. So there's a second game. As we know from season 1, the maze was never meant for William.
No.
And they said it many times. This game isn't meant for you. No. Or humans, right. It's meant for hosts.
Right.
To achieve consciousness.
Right.
And so it's like, you're playing the wrong game. No, stop. You, stop. So the little boy Ford specifically says, this game is for you.
Yeah.
And it's the door. And it's your way out. And I think he says it begins where you end and it ends where you began.
Right.
Something like that?
Yeah. So, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
What I'd like it to mean is is a situation where once he gets to this door, that Dolores is there to say, "Sucker!"
By the way,
you idiot! You are just helping us do what we want to do. You're not important, you dumbass. So that's what I want.
I see that. Yeah, this whole time we were just pulling your chain, and it really has nothing to do with. It's like we
need you to be someplace where you will help us get what we want.
Got you. Like opening the door and let us out.
Yeah.
So the little boy Ford does say, "The game will find you," and so Man in Black's response is, "Well, good. Then I don't need you around anymore." And he shoots little boy Ford.
Yep. Shoots him right in the head.
Shoots a kid.
Yep. Shoots a kid robot. Yeah.
Still, it's whatever.
Not the first kid robot he's shot.
Nope. Nope. Won't be the last, probably. So he's off on the quest. Now, maybe that is one interesting, very dark way to do the quest, which is it was our way of making you do stuff for us. Thanks. The other one would be perhaps that it's some kind of a redemptive arc for him, that maybe Ford is like trying to like have him return back to his humanity.
Sorry.
Like
that'd be very interesting if Ford even cared.
I hear you.
He's like, you could tell he clearly gave up on the human race. Clearly gave up. That's why he's willing to let them evolve and be the next stage, basically. It's like, oh, those Neanderthals killed them, and then the humans are able to come. Now it's time for the robots to kill the humans.
Maybe the door, or the way to evolve for him, the next step is to become a robot. Maybe they put, putting his consciousness into a robot, which would then make him like the Man in Black from the original movie, Westworld. I don't know.
That's interesting.
If Ford really thinks that robots are the future, which I think he does.
Sure.
Like that's our future. Like here, hey, Man in Black, you want to take the next step in your consciousness and evolution, evolve as a human being? Well, you're going to evolve to the point of being a robot. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I would call that a wild shot.
All right, that's on our Baskin Robbins theories. That's that flavor that no one gets. The clown cone that's been sitting there for a couple of weeks. You're like, I think that's probably stale. I'm gonna pass on. I'm on a clown cone theory. But that covers the main.
I'd say
the main plot beats. We're excited to have it back. It was very entertaining. They had a lot of action.
Yep.
And a whole lot of cerebral, what the hell's going on moments.
Sure.
That combination, that wins you something. That's great. So yes, welcome back, Westworld. We'll be back talking about that. We'll be back talking about Legion later this week.
Yes.
So come back for that. Please subscribe if you want to get updates. Make some comments. This is a theory crafter's dream come true show. So feel free to craft your theories in the comments.
Yes.
And we'll reply with our versions of what your theories might be.
Art.
You can, in your Baskin Robbins of theories.
Yes.
You can give
your
better flavors.
Fruity or
your
peppermint.
Don't get me started on peppermint. All right. Anyway, thanks everybody. Westworld, awesome. We'll see you guys. Bye.